Okay. How's the noise? First of all, my me versus the background noise. I can turn the thing off. I'm probably gonna turn the thing off. Hang on. Hang on. I don't know if that's. I don't know if it's preferable. Like I turned the dehumidifier off. I don't know if that's preferable. That sounds better because the mic input meter is still warbling like it can pick up background noise. Might actually be getting a tiny bit of wind from the window. I don't know. I don't know. What am I doing? We don't actually really have a stream until quarter after because that's when the Patreon post goes up, which then requires me to grab the link from that so that I can make the tweet. It's not ideal. Patrons have been made aware. So yes, we wait. Everything seems to be working though. That's good and better than most weeks. Okay. And I gotta try to work with the DM screen on. I thought for sure I already inked some of the. Oh, there it is. I typically don't watch things, so I have not watched Lock and Key. I watch old Star Treks, and then when new Star Treks come on, I watch them and complain. That's pretty much what I watch. Oh my god, come on, Patreon. You know what I always could do? I could open up the Windows emulator and subject everybody in chat to remixes of Photograph. Did I just audibly hear Jen snort from the next room? Everybody wants to hear my Photograph remixes. God, is the delay that bad? I I spoke of Photograph like minutes ago. Wow. This delay seems really bad. I hope it's wait a second, what's the stream is at yellow. Still haven't bothered to get a decent internet connection. Oh, I see. Okay. We still should get a better internet connection. I would really like to not have to worry about streams. And then I could stream my own sick gameplay. Okay, 3 minutes. Nobody else is in here. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. There. I was just about to say like Five's gonna show up any second, but not here yet, and that's weird. But hello. I assume Rob will be by in short order. Probably followed by Simat at some point. I don't think we've seen Rage in a while. We haven't seen Guillaume in a while either. We're also busy getting art done. And Sunday is everybody's D&D day. I'll be actually arting for Five's benefit. I will be arting shortly. I just need to wait until the Patreon post goes up so I can then grab that link to post the tweet and then you know, try to get art done between ranting about sundry things. Don't let me or us distract you from something that is, you know, objectively more important. Oh my god. I'm just sitting here waiting for a timer to go off anyways. Slash reading Twitter. My Twitter doesn't move very fast. I only follow a few people and I have most of them muted. My Twitter is like a glacier. Oh, come on, Patreon. Come on, Patreon. Any second now. The internet times things weird. Because, the same thing happens with pages, where when it's actually scheduled to go up. And, like, you define a specific minute, it seems to take most, if not all, of that minute. Alright, it's officially a minute late. Did I do this wrong? Hang on. Oh boy. February 23rd, 2020 at 3:15 p.m. Why is it not up yet? I've got almost 3:17 now. See, the other thing that sucks about live stream posts is you can't just publish them. You have to schedule them. So, like, my hands are tied here. Oh, wait. Might be good now. God, Patreon's a terrible website. There it is. Okay. I will slam this in Twitter. Give me that sick sun emoji. It is done. Okay. Let me move everything. I keep forgetting to buy an arm for the microphone, because trying to get the mic and my keyboard and my mouse in this like 1 square foot area is kind of a nightmare. Okay. So we want to bip. Clip Studio Paint. Boop. Alright. I think the DM screen covers everything I need it to cover. Yes. Yes, it does. We've more Steve's. I can hear Jen laughing at this from the other room. Oh my god! I gotta ink. Oh, I see what you were going for with that line. Okay. Let's do that. Nope, that's gray. Don't want that. It's funny, when I started inking Jen's lines, like in the very beginning, I was like so swoopy and like overly graceful. And now I ink everything like the background character in an anime. Like everything is super sharp and triangular. Maybe I should get the mic even closer. Hang on. Oh, that's dangerous. Oh, okay. God, so many Steves. It's a really irritating temperature out right now, because the heating in this building during the winter is like really aggressive, to the point that I kind of just open the window, and that kind of cancels out the terrible aggressive heater. But it's just getting warm enough that they haven't turned the heat off yet, but opening the window doesn't do anything, so I'm just kind of hot. Oh, that Sorrel's actually done. This might have been a bad page to ink right now, because it's almost done. I actually thought I had more to do. Whoops. Whatever, I'll just ink slow. But I guess that's what I normally do. God damn it. When streaming, Jen, I don't know if this happens to you. When streaming, I could swear that it's like polling my cursor's position less often. And so when I try to do a like a sweeping stroke very quickly. Like it looks kind of low poly because it's not updating as often. I might be imagining things. I don't think I am. Yeah, like it's probably impossible to tell in the on YouTube, but like, god damn, this is like N64 shit. This makes my job very hard. My job of making nice comic. Oh yeah, right. On streams, you're always just winging it in pencils. Don't I swear to God. I can't get a nose. This character is all like sweepy curves, and they look like shit. I hope I don't have to redo much of this. We are inking at 66.6%. I don't know if anybody else gets that in Clip Studio Paint. I don't remember changing a setting, so I have to assume it's the default behavior. But most graphics editing programs have discrete zoom levels. So like for most it's like 100, then 66.7. I think the next one is 52 or 47. I can't remember which. But it's like as you roll the wheel, there are like specific steps it'll stop at. For some reason, Clip Studio Paint, for me, it goes 100, then 66.7, then 66.6, and then to whatever the next one is. And again, I don't remember changing anything, so I assume that was intentional. And it is very strange. Clip Studio Paint, the Satan's Photoshop. Yep. Right, okay. Maybe if I just slowed the hell down, I would not notice these low poly problems. I did notice I ink like alarmingly fast. like per stroke, compared to like whenever I've watched like Dennis or Dirk ink, it's always like really deliberate and kind of slow, even though it looks like it's really fast. God damn it. Oh shit, that goes behind the DM screen. I'll have to finish her hairbell later. I realized halfway through setting up the Steves that like it would probably be easier to just get rid of the line art, the offending line art. Just cut it and put it on a different layer. But Steve is more fun. What is causing this? Maybe I just have too many tabs. I don't know. I need to put on music. For me, not for you. Leaving it silent so you don't necessarily have to deal with whatever I feel like putting on. Excuse me. Oh, I just realized I have the mic right next to where I'm clicking the Cintiq buttons. Hope that's not too irritating. Though now that I think of it, I probably do that every time. Fine then, I will continue to click them. Leah, I don't have time for your bullshit. I don't have time for your bullshit. Go lay in a sunbeam. I delight in all Steves. Look at him just hanging out. What do you want? Go lay in a sunbeam. Go do cat things. Go do cat things. Go do cat things. Couldn't decide whether I wanted to give Steve a bowler hat or a crown. So I'm giving him both. That's an S, not a dollar sign. It looks like olives? The hat that I drew? That monitor is terrible. Go do cat things. Go lay in a sunbeam. Go chase a dust particle. Oh, those olives. Stick-borne olives. Gosh, I guess that's that. Alright. What about Tiny Doll over here? This Steve is actually Elijah Wood's face on Steve Buscemi's head. which I pointed out to Jen looks a lot like Flea. Who, incidentally, is also in The Big Lebowski. Flea is the basis for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He's this horrifying goblin man who plays bass real good, and he's in a bunch of movies, including but not limited to The Big Lebowski and Back to the Future 2 and 3. Facebook finally, or not Facebook, the other thing everyone hates, Photoshop, finally added canvas flipping, like visual canvas. I know you can always turn your art literally backwards, but like just you can invert the camera. In one of the more recent CCs. But unlike this, where like you'll notice when I flip the canvas, doll stays more or less in the middle. It's like literally flipping the exact view you have, so you can stay orientated. Photoshop, the way they implemented it was that instead of it being based on your current camera position, it's based on your current position to the left or right of the document. So, for instance, we are currently in the upper right corner of this document. And if you flip it in Photoshop, it's like, ah, yes, you were looking at the upper right corner of the document. So it goes over here. And so you have to go find where you were again. And I mean, I guess Photoshop is new to this, so maybe we should give him a break. But like, I don't know, that seems pretty intuitive. Just have the camera stay on the thing you were actually looking at. And because every Adobe product is so separate, I don't know if that problem has been solved on other Adobe products. If there are indeed other ones where you need to flip the canvas on a semi-regular basis. Or flip the view of the canvas. Well, it's good to know that they're consistent across all their products. What I don't understand is like how, because obviously like you got to test a feature a little bit before putting it out. So like somebody should have flipped the canvas and been like, "Oh fuck, I'm way over here now." That's obviously not, uh, useful or intuitive. I feel too like it would be easier to just implement flipping the camera backwards. Same view, just reversed. Like I don't code or anything, but it seems to me like that would the path to that would be quicker than the path to, but maybe not. Leah, go lay in a sunbeam. God damn it. I fucked up because I've been paying so much more attention. Oh shit! I just lost chat. I fucked up because I've been paying so much more attention to her since we lost Leo, and so now she seems emboldened to just bug me all the time now. Oh wait, what? The stroke seems smoother now. I'm not sure why. Oh, never mind. I brought up how much better it was, and so it took it away from me again. Oh boy. Is Leah leaving you alone now? Oh, alright. The delay is not as bad as I thought. That is good to know. This Elijah Wood is really unsettling. I don't like it. Like, he's staring a little too close. Like, I'm close enough to this monitor that this is not my favorite. Shit. Goes behind the DM screen again. Oh, and I'm going to have to redo this anyways, because, Jen, remember we talked about how the thing in the foreground would... Ugh. Alright, whatever, I'll come back to it. I'll circle back around. Oh, something... Oh, nope, not what I want. Jesus Christ. Something's not right there. What? Oh, I see. Okay. I just want to change this a bit. Getting these, like, anime eye curves is The most nerve-wracking parts. We have a fourth viewer who is not identifying themselves. Oh, I'm doing this in the wrong layer. God damn it. That's fine. Oh, hey, D. You know what? I didn't see that. Like this time when I was creating the DM screen, I as you can see by the inclusion of Elijah and Anne and Willem, I was looking at like celebrity mashups with Steve Buscemi. I did not see Christopher Walken, and I don't know if I ever have. Because that would seem like a very natural one for somebody to do. As for how it's going, I am hopped up on 3 bags of M&Ms right now, so I got full black metal legs, and I'm kind of hot because the heating in this building is not turned off yet, and it's a beautiful day out. So I'm uncomfortable. I mean, then there's the I'm 34, so there's a laundry list of encroaching ailments. But I mean, the short answer is good. So thank you for asking. Yeah, no, Jen right before the stream went to the bodega that's like across the parking lot from us, and they sell M&M's did this thing for a while where they had like I guess I don't know if this was a North America wide thing because it felt like a test, like it was one of those regional like flavor tests, and they had like a few flavors. There was like oh god, I don't even remember what they are. There was Thai chili peanut M&Ms, English toffee peanut M&Ms, and I think like spicy jalapeno peanut M&Ms. And our bodega happened to have like the little the shitty little bags that have like 7 M&Ms in them. And they were great. We loved them. But the way our bodega is set up, like right next to the checkout, there's like this beam, and this is just a consequence of the way the building was constructed, and then they shoved a bodega in there later. There's a beam right in front of the counter underneath the checkout. So there's shelves there, but certain candy products, like in the impulse buy candy that's right there underneath the cash register, the impulse buy products, some of them get completely hidden, and it's impossible to know the products are there unless you already know they're there. And that's where these M&Ms are. Now the regional like taste test ended a long time ago, and I've never seen these again. I assume they probably didn't sell enough, and we may never see these flavors again. But luckily, nobody, even the employees, seem to remember that those M&Ms are there. So there's this whole rack of M&Ms with a best before date of November of last year, just sitting there. So every so often we go in there and reach behind this beam into a little crevice we can barely see to grab these M&Ms that are all just stacked neatly in there. Green tea Kit Kats are actually fairly common. If you go into like Chinatown, like that's like the main flavor of Kit Kats. I would say that if you ever saw green tea Kit Kats with like English package, like with fully English packaging, that would be considerably more rare. But I do see it with. I have seen it with both Japanese and Chinese packaging a lot in the Toronto area. Uh, Also, Jen, just so you were aware, I dropped Doll's other eyebrow a little bit to match the one that we suddenly have to like pull into view from under her hair. No, M&M's makes Smarties, dude. For the Americans, you guys don't get Smarties. Smarties is a candy. It's like what if M&Ms were good, like basic regular M&Ms were good. Uh, Smarties are, I mean, what Americans know as Smarties. I'm actually just guessing everybody's nationality here because there's literally looking at our analytics, there's a 9 in 10 chance that anybody listening to me right now is American. Uh, what Americans know as Smarties are known elsewhere in the world as Rockets. They come in those like little twisty packages and they're kind of sour, or not sour, tangy, I guess. But Smarties here and elsewhere in the world are the competitor to M&Ms, and they're flatter, and their candy coating is like way crunchier. And as far as I'm concerned, there's no contest between M&Ms and Smarties. The only problem is they are made by Nestle, and Nestle CEO does not believe that water is a human right. So we try more than any other boycott in this household. The Nestle boycott is by far the one we stick to the most. Like, I don't think we've bought a Nestle product on purpose in a very, very long time. So sometimes out of desperation we have to, or no, or is the cat food we get, is Purina Nestle? I still don't really count that because that's just a matter of the cats are assholes and it is literally the only food they will eat. As for human food, though, the last time I got oh, and that's not true. I have eaten Smarties recently because I stole them. Because I wanted Smarties. I haven't had Smarties in so long, but I'm not going to give the Nestle Corporation money. So I stole some Smarties. And I don't condone that behavior. Don't do that. But I really wanted Smarties. And I think we had like coffee creamer like within the last year that was Nestle, because my mom didn't know that we don't buy Nestle products, and so she just bought whatever their imprint is. See, the problem with Nestle, the reason it's so difficult, and probably one of the reasons I'm sure they do this deliberately among other reasons. There's so many brand imprints of Nestle, like the fact that our cat food is Purina and that the Nestle, all their breakfast products are Carnation and like stuff like that. Like, it's very difficult to keep tabs on what is Nestle and what is not. And it is actually quite remarkable how much of literally everything you buy in a grocery store is Nestle in the end. So if we're buying something we already don't know, or if we're buying something that we don't already know is not Nestle, we have to like stop in the grocery store and like scan the box because the logo will be somewhere. What am I doing? It's funny. I don't really use the brush I have labeled Rising Sand for Rising Sand much anymore. I think that's part of why. Getting back to the conversation I was having with myself earlier, I think part of the reason that my inking style on Rising Sand did change from more swoopy to more chunky was because the old Rising Sand brush, which is this one that I'm using right here, it is much more swoopy. Whereas the brush I use now, it's hard to see, but like it doesn't have as much taper and whatnot, so like it kind of lends itself to chunkier strokes better. And I just lost chat. Give me a moment. There we go. Oh shit, it's Rob. I actually had tabs on you being second into the chat, so I'm glad I'm not a betting man. I was saying to Jen, it's probably about a week ago now, that you appear to use Twitter about as much as me and Jen do, because if Rising Sand, in particular, tweets anything, there's a very good bet that Rob is going to be the first person who interacts with that post. I love dolls. Huh. Phase. Yeah, I would I would not help a friend with that. Mostly because my back and knees and hips are kind of fucked. Also, I'm afraid of heights. Most of the things of which I am afraid are abstract concepts, uh, like death, for instance. But like one of the only things in this world that creates in me an uncontrollable like physical reaction is just like being on a ladder. And like I know the actual probability of me falling is like very low, but like whenever I have to like, hang a picture or something, as soon as I'm like on a ladder or like God forbid a chair or something, and all I can see is like the beige of the wall and the ceiling, like I get really vertigo-y. It is really awful. And like I can't tell which way is up anymore, and just yeah, Jen, I am probably gonna cut down on the squirrel cheeks. This is what I was talking about vis-a-vis our conversation the other day. But like, God, this mouth is so perfect. I love it. But yeah, no, Vertigo. I often wonder how much that has to do with my hearing, because I have really really bad tinnitus from listening to ridiculous loud music for hours and hours and hours and hours a day in headphones when I was a teenager. And I didn't realize until like adulthood that like, oh, these bells are not normal. Yeah, like even like that, I think is more because it retains that like cute chubby quality without looking stuffed, I guess. There's all these Steves. Oh, sorry, Rob. I missed your uh, short screed there. Yeah, it's like it's weird because like when I'm in like a like the other couple weeks ago, I was downtown uh, at the optometrist, and he's in like the 14th floor, and so he's way way above the street, and like looking out his window, I do quickly get that vertigo feeling, but it's it's not so bad. Like, and I used to live on the 7th floor before we moved here, and like I don't know, looking off a building is fine. It's oddly like shorter heights, like ladders and things. So I'm not exactly sure what the criteria are, but like it's just one of the very very few, I would say, like legit, I guess, phobias that I have that I just haven't react like just I can't control the reaction to it. I don't know. Maybe one day, Steve will see this. Perhaps I am having so much trouble speaking because I have giant headphones on. One day, maybe we'll just tag him and be like, "Steve, look what we have done," and he'll be like, "Oh, good, another one." Because I mean, he's been on talk shows where they've, done the whole "look, it's your eyes on other celebrities" kind of thing. So like, I mean, he's aware of his cult status. Where are the Canary Islands? I'm not up on my geography. I've only left Canada once. I've left Canada one time, and it was to go to New Hampshire, which may as well still be in Canada. I mean, in terms of distance, not in terms of the Americanness of it. It is highly American. Oh, that's cool. I should Google Earth that. I really love Google Earth. I don't know if there's still an app version of it. I used to like keep the app downloaded, so I didn't need to wait for the website to load. Sorry, solid blocks of road? What do you mean by that? I'm in Toronto. Me and Jen are in Toronto. The only city in Canada that Americans can name off the top of their head. Unless they have experience with Canada. Or if they're especially educated Americans, they might know Vancouver. Oh, I see. So like the kind of roads on cliffs that you see in like James Bond movies. That shit's really cool. But yeah, no, I'm in Toronto. In addition to only ever having left Canada once, I've only left the province twice. I was to Quebec once for like a field trip. Matt, I think you were there. I think it was creative arts. We went to like the Bio Dome or whatever in Montreal. Or no, it was in like Hull or something. So like it was barely even out of, because Hull is like, that river is like the border between Canada, or between, I was gonna say Canada and Quebec, Ontario and Quebec. It may as well be Canada and Quebec. I highly recommend it. Canada's pretty all right. It's kind of like better America, except for the fact that we are currently invading the natives. Like right now, we are currently invading the natives. We're garbage just like everybody else. It sucks because you really love that free healthcare, and like I even love throwing that free healthcare in everybody's face. But we are invading the natives right now, and that's not on. Five. Where are you going in Canada this summer, if you don't mind my asking? Ideally, you probably want one of the coasts because they have the nicer scenery. But like Toronto's cool. It's kind of like clean New York. Yeah, you'll get no argument from me. I don't live downtown anymore though, and that kind of sucks. It was kind of nice to be like a 3 minute walk from everything that matters and everything that happens. I uh, I actually watched them film the Joker stuff from Suicide Squad a few years ago. I have a bunch of photos. Like, I think they're still on my phone of like them filming the Lamborghini chase. I actually haven't seen Suicide Squad. I just am aware there's a Lamborghini chase in it because I saw them film it. I God, I've actually seen them film a lot of movies. I used to work at Staples, like right downtown Toronto, and I think this was while I still worked at Staples. No, no, I think it was after I worked at Staples. Whatever. I was cutting across the back parking lot of that Staples, and it was actually like the little trailer village for Pixels, that shitty Adam Sandler video game movie. And so I didn't really see anything. I saw a bunch of movie people milling about, but mostly just a security guard calling me buddy and telling me to get out of the trailer village for Pixels. But I had the last laugh because that movie is terrible. Oh, and also where we lived downtown uh, was right on the fence between uh, the village, like the LGBT area, which is very very nice and everything's like fancy and literally the lowest income area of the city. It's like literally like we were on the street that is the border between those two areas. Uh, and so we always had film crews kind of around the poorer buildings because if you're filming like a cheap cop show and you need a shitty apartment to stand in for a shitty apartment in a cop show, there's no better place to get it than the area we lived in. So there was always like crews for cop shows around. I am certainly getting more done today than last time. Fewer things to rant about. God damn it. Swear to God, I can only do right-facing curves. Curse of being left-handed. Okay, I guess we'll get this Sorrel done too. I'm so delighted that Sorrel is back. Now that we are back to the present. I know, right? Like I said last time, like people who have been around for like a long while may or may not already be aware of what Steve is concealing. It's not even that big of a deal. I just figured these days audiences seem to be very particular about spoilers, and like I get that. So why not keep the suspense? Well, yes, new character, but like depending on how voraciously you've consumed Rising Sand news over the years, and next month it will be 4 years 4 years, and like the story has barely started. Jesus Christ, webcomic time. But depending on how hard you've been standing at Rising Sand and for how long, you may have more information than other people. We'll get to it. Jesus Christ. Like, Jen, just to satisfy your desire, or, to at least push it away for the time being. What page are we on? 102. So you've got five more updates to reveal that character technically, and then like I think two or three more after that before like we reveal that character. So that'll be like 2 or 3 months. Great. Essentially, though, we wanted to make sure this character was fully out there before TCAF, because as I mentioned on the last patron update, like the last HD page update, this character is likely to be on whatever marketing material, like whatever like flyer or what have you we have at TCAF. So I would like to make sure that this character exists. If people look at the flyer and go like, oh hey, that looks fun, and go to Rising Sand Glass, I want that character to already be there. Oh, wouldn't that be weird? It's just Keb, but he's slimmed down so that he's able to fit behind one Buscemi. He just took his muscles off. I was saying to Jen a little while ago, I don't know if I said it on stream, but Jen tends to draw mostly for Sorrel, sometimes for other characters, but like I identify it most with Sorrel's character. Sorrel has these weird hinged eyebrows that can do all sorts of shit that real eyebrows can't do. And at first I hated it. At first, like, I was like, this, like, human beings can't make these expressions because their eyebrows aren't fucking jointed. But, like, it's weird in a way that I think kind of works for Sorrel. That, like, his eyebrows can turn down at one point and then turn back up and just kind of do these, like, wiggly worm things. And, like, the more I've seen it, the more I've been like, yeah, that's kind of a Sorrel thing. Oh yeah, no, I mean like real life, that'd be fucking awesome. Like I do have about a Dwayne the Rock Johnson level of control over my eyebrows. Like I can easily lift both eyebrows, like no sweat. So like I can do as much as a human can presently do. So it's like I wish I could take it to the next level, and I think the next level is jointed eyebrows. But I mean, you never know, right? Like you get those people who are like really into body modding, and they'll split their tongue in half, and your tongue is technically two separate muscles. So if you split your tongue in half, for all intents and purposes, you now have two tongues that can move independently. So like maybe there's potential there with eyebrows. Like if you get surgery to kind of like hack the muscles in half, maybe you can learn to control the various sides of them on their own. That would be the dumbest body mod. Don't do that. Unless it's for science. When I was in like my mid-20s, I was very much more into body mods. I don't have much myself. I have ridiculously big Keb ears. That's about it. I have 2 nose rings. But you can go to all these body mod websites, and there's just, God, there's a whole section. There's a whole world of bifurcated penises. And this is where I learned the word bifurcate, which means to cut in half. And there's just lots of people out there with bifurcated penises. That's just a thing you can do. There are people who are trained, who know, quote unquote, the right way to bifurcate a penis. Okay, I don't know, Five, if Jen is going me or you, but your thing sounds wild. Like, why would you put a Raspberry Pi in your leg? Like, what? I mean, I get the whole, like, embedded hardware thing. Like, I think that's kind of cool. But, like, a Raspberry Pi, first of all, is chunky. Like, that is not a small thing to put in your body. So I'm not really sure how that would even work. Like, surely you can't embed one such that it's completely underneath your skin. Because, like, I've got a Raspberry Pi sitting over there. They're not small, and like they generate heat, so you would need somewhere for that heat to go, and that's wild. That's absolutely wild. Oh yeah, no, I've yeah, I guess my incredulous attitude at the bifurcated penises is because there were galleries. There were pictures of these things, and they're not great. My question is still why though? Like, why would you get a Raspberry Pi? I mean, I'm sure, generic computer things, you can just do it natively because it's part of your body. But like, if I was gonna do that, I would want kind of specific use cases in mind before opening up my body for a not insubstantially sized computer. Because even the small Pis, like the Pi Zero, it's not small. Like, it's kind of as big as like a stick of RAM. I mean, well, that is impressively small for a mostly fully fledged computer. Like, it's still not small. Like, not for something you'd be, embedding underneath your skin, presumably underneath your skin. I'm so glad Sorrel exists. I still need to clean up. I mentioned it on Twitter briefly, but I found a version of the first bit of Rising Sand. I think it's like the first couple of scenes are quote unquote fully written, and I think all the way to the end of Act 1 is like kind of outlined, and it's largely the same, but Sorrel and Bohm don't exist, and it's an interesting thing that I should reformat for Patreon and post that, because it is certainly hard for me to imagine the story without them at this point. Partly because like some later stuff hinges on their presence. I was saying to Jen, I think just earlier today that because we were watching like a YouTube video that was talking about Star Wars. Bohm is just Chewbacca, where like he's technically a character, but like he's just kind of there and is useful some of the time. I actually can't remember if I hit go on the tweet for this stream. Jen, did I hit go on the tweet for this stream? Or did he just write it and leave it? Oh, okay, good. Wonderful. Yep. I was saying to Jen that this is another thing that I actually need to put up on Patreon. Just my quest to get better and faster at layouts. I always worry that I was going to the well too much with shots like the one I'm currently inking, where like, you know, it'll be very little space to breathe. Like it's kind of just somebody over somebody else's shoulder, taking up the entirety of the frame, or this one up here, where we've got three characters kind of smushed into like a basically radiating out layout wise from Steve's head there. And I worried about that, and I always tried to create. There's actually technically another one right up here. I always tried to create shots where you could kind of see, at the very least, the full character bust. But then it often created like weird gaps of dead space that I didn't know what to do with. And so independent of that was just something that was in the back of my mind. But I also, you know, wanted to shore up my layout skills, because I find, as I've twat many times before, I find layout days absolutely insufferable and lonely and miserable. And so I looked up a bunch of like Mignola's Hellboy pages, because if I'm going to, learn from or even ape somebody's layouts, there is probably literally no better person to explain that through their own work, very clearly and plainly. And I was right. I got a lot of great ideas for panel compositions and whatnot pretty much immediately. But what was more that I learned from looking at his work on Hellboy is that these shots that I was so worried about, that are like people crowding frames and eliminating dead space with their bodies, is kind of how it's done. That just kind of seems to be what the big boys do. At least for talking head scenes, where it would otherwise kind of be boring. So I guess I was on the right track all along. What I guess I'm trying to say is always believe in yourself. But yeah, the most recent pages I gave Jen, and I'm sure I will always notice it more than the audience does, but like the layouts of those pages are like suddenly, as far as I'm concerned, noticeably better than anything that came before, because I was actually like studying up for it. I've always kind of had a real struggle with, and this is kind of what I wanted the Patreon post to be about. I've always kind of had a struggle with creating in a vacuum, where like I've never, and even now I don't really read that many comics. But like whatever I was doing, I've always kind of shunned other examples of the thing that I'm doing, and I think some of it is to mute that envy that kind of comes with looking at better examples of the things you're trying to do. I think in my early days, like when I was a teenager and stuff, that was one of the reasons. And just to try to forge my own path and not inadvertently ape anything from other people. And I'm not talking about not using reference. I'm talking about like not consuming or immersing yourself in the medium you're trying to work with. And wouldn't you know it, that's a stupid way to work. And you shouldn't do that. You should always see what other people, what other people have done, what has come before. Because maybe you'll, figure out the best way to do things or a faster way to do things. And this is probably elementary in a certain light, but I've always had trouble working that way, and like actually giving a shit about the rest of the sector I'm trying to be a part of. And I will say that I must have had some success working that way in the past, because even with my career not being too far in yet, like I've only been doing things particularly professionally for like 10 years now, and like I've been ripped off a lot. So maybe there is something to working in a vacuum, but it also makes the entire creative process absolutely miserable because you're trying to do everything from scratch. So I wouldn't recommend it. And if I could do it all over again, I would be absolutely, pouring through every example of everything I can find. doesn't make any... Shit, we kind of blew through all the stuff that... I guess I'm used to talking more and inking less. Whoops. Oh, hey, Rage. Good to see you in the chat. I've actually been meaning to ping you, dude, for regarding Afterlife and its site, because I do still need to like reach in and scoop comments out of it, and I'm pretty sure I remember how we did that, and you know like how to use the inspect doodad to find which file the code is in and to just nuke the code from orbit, but I'm sure I'll do it wrong, so I just, you know, when I do it wrong, I'll probably be dinging you for that. Oh, I didn't necessarily mean this evening, but I guess we could. What am I doing tonight? It's Sunday. Yeah, I can probably do later this evening, like after dinner maybe. No, I just meant like sometime in the nebulous future. But yeah, sure, why not? I may as well. I mean, I did say it was going to be like fall 2019, so like we're almost in March. So I should probably get that out the door. Webcomic number 2 with a big old asterisk. I actually also, if anybody, you know what, I don't know if I've ever explained this. If anybody wonders about my inking, I'm sure we're not the only comic to do this, but like how I'll keep drawing, even though Doll is like right here. why I would keep drawing, a piece of a finger behind it. It's mostly to maximize, because obviously it's pretty clear at this point we put characters on different layers and whatnot. But a lot of the special effects I use, particularly like the depth of field. I first of all draw a little farther to ensure that if I need to slide anything over a little bit, like for composition's sake, or like maybe to fit a speech bubble or whatnot, there's like a little bit of leeway to do that. And second of all, if depth of field becomes, I was gonna say necessary, it's never necessary. I just like to use. I'm like the George Lucas of webcomics. No, I'm like the James Cameron of webcomics, pushing technological boundaries without stopping to consider whether or not I should. If I use depth of field or any sort of like blur effect, like I kind of have insurance for things disappearing behind other things that are kind of like out of focus. Anyways, that's why I do that. Because like if this doll, for example, like got blurred out, you would be able to see more of Sorrel as the the soft edges kind of tapered off. But yes, I am I am all depth of field and bloom. Everything. As far as I can tell, Rising Sand is the only webcomic that has like subsurface light on like people's skin tones and stuff. There are so many steps to my coloring process that absolutely do not need to be there. And I do them anyways. There's like some, I don't know if we're there yet because we just got back to the present, but there's like panels where you can see like the world light kind of like shining through Doll's hair and stuff, and it's like we don't need that kind of shit in Rising Sand. That just adds time. However, it also makes the comic look like Rising Sand. You guys better brace yourselves, though. I go friggin' nuts with, like, the rainbow, like, light leaks. Just love me a rainbow. Oh, I actually did these backwards. This foreground doll is actually on the backmost line. Whatever. I'll clean it up later. Yeah, no, 5, that was absolutely the goal. I think even now I'm a little overzealous. Like I'm getting to that point, and I think you can see it in the art of Rising Sand. I'm starting to get a better understanding, and like my, I have a host of mental health things going on. I have an extremely compulsive personality, and I will take things to the goddamn limit, and like I just can't stop myself. I just do it. And I'm finally learning just through like sheer brute force experience making comic pages that like you don't need to do all that work. And I still go farther than most people have to, but like if you look at even like the line art, particularly as Act 2 goes on, you can see kind of a scaling back, not in effort, but like you can see that if you look at the line art really closely, like I'm being more efficient, and Jen's being more efficient too. Like because for Act 2, she's actually penciling much smaller. Like basically, I give her a file that's not much bigger than Screen Res. It is a little bit bigger than Screen Res, but like, it allows her to express what she wants to express and do all the body language and stuff that she wants to get out there. But she does it in far fewer lines. Because one of the problems of digital art, or I would say maybe the problem of digital art more than any other, it's not the infinite undo. It's the fact that you can zoom infinitely. So it's very, very easy to get lost in intricate details that nobody will see, because you can just go and go and go and make it bigger and bigger and bigger forever. And so it's easy to lose perspective on what you're actually making. So Jen's template is actually very small, and after she hands it to me, I blow it up to the bigger. Like this is actually like here, I'll show you full size. Like full size is this. Like, it's really, really big. But I don't let myself get closer than about 60-ish%. And even this may be too big. But just like I was saying, through sheer experience, uh, realizing I don't need to put as many lines. I don't need to be as detailed and whatnot. And in a sense, I'm coming around on colors as well. Like, for the most part, we've dropped the second layer of shadows, which was very much a part of Act One. But if I didn't tell you, you'd probably never notice, and that's kind of like the point. Is like, through this experience, I'm starting to realize that, like, oh, the readers are never gonna see that. Who gives a shit? And just, like, dropping the stages and whatnot. But even then, like, I'm thinking of, I'm finding new ways to add more eye candy all the time, and it takes everything I have not to just throw everything. Because the thing with Rising Sun is, like, it does have, like, extremely lush atmosphere. Like, you can taste the light, if that makes sense. Like, everything's kind of hazy, and I like it like that. That's part of Rising Sun's visual identity. But oh, hang on. Sorry, I'm checking chat. Chat is on my phone because I still haven't figured out a dual monitor setup for this particular desk. Um, oh, what was I talking about? Special effects. Yeah, but, like, I'm figuring out new ways and, like, new ideas for things that I know haven't been tried in webcomics. I am positive that I am the only person in webcomics who has figured out actual dynamic depth of field. There's two kinds of depth of field in comics, or in, for our purposes, webcomics. There's the cardboard cutout, which is the characters are in full focus, uh, and the background is completely out of focus, but it has been done on a plane and at a camera depth that makes it look like it's like a stage play. Like, all the people in the foreground are, like, on a completely separate reality from the background. And there's the peach fuzz, and the peach fuzz is where you say you're trying to do somebody's arm, like, reaching out from the background where it is blurry to the foreground where it is clear. Uh, what the solution most people have come up with is to make one copy blurry and one copy clear, and to just, like, feather it from one to the other, which works pretty well. But, like, you can see the clear one disappearing into the blurry one. As far as I know, I'm the only person who's figured out how to do that. Like depth of field for specific objects, like coming out of the background or going into the foreground or whatever, that dynamically change their focus. Uh, and I'm not afraid to tell anybody. It's just I would have to, like, do up a whole tutorial about how to do it. Uh, to your comment about speed, though, Five, no, we are incredibly slow. I would say we are probably on par with Lackadaisy. The difference is that we, for the moment, have a buffer, so it appears to the reader that we are fast. We are not. We are not at all. Like, consider 2 weeks ago, I was inking the page before this one, if that gives you any idea. Now, I have been jumping around. Like, we do work in batches, which brings me to D's thing. We do work in batches. We work ideally anywhere from between, like, 3 and 5 pages at a time, where I will thumbnail. I usually thumbnail 4 pages at a time. Sometimes it'll be 5. I pass those off to Jen, and she pencils those all at once while I'm inking and coloring the previous 4 or 5. So basically, I write, I lay out, I pass to Jen, she draws it, she passes it back to me, I ink and color and letter, and then it's out the door. Or rather, it goes into the buffer to wait. Oh, yeah, sure. Thanks for stopping by, Rage. I appreciate it. I may hit you up later. I'll let you know. And hopefully we can get Afterlife off the ground. Uh, oh, yeah, what was I talking about? Yeah, in my thumbnails, I do have my thumbnail. there's three templates. There's the thumbnail template, there's the pencil template, and then there's like the final page template. And the thumbnail template is the is very very small. Like it's each thumbnail is like I don't actually know the figure. I think it's like 700 pixels high or something. It easily fits on a screen. But I have speech bubbles like essentially finalized text like that I have typed out in the actual font, but it's scaled to the size of the thumbnail template. And so this allows me to, because you see a lot of people who do thumbnails, they'll like quickly like sketch in the speech bubbles, and that's what I used to do. But I found that it I would miss I would either overestimate or underestimate how much space I actually needed for dialogue. So it created the dual problems of sometimes I would have like a bunch of really weird dead space on a page that I thought I would need more space for, or I would have panels that had no room for dialogue. And so, I would either have to cut down the dialogue or do really awkwardly placed speech bubbles. So I started putting essentially final dialogue into the thumbnails so that I could, create a more intricate dance of, okay, I know we have exactly this much space for dialogue. So we have all this other space that we can just fill with the art. And so it allows us to do things like, what page is it? I can't remember. There's a page where it's like there's speech bubbles and like there's characters like hand talking around the speech bubbles, but we knew exactly the space we had between speech bubbles, so we were able to get like people's hands and stuff into places where they wouldn't be awkwardly obscured by dialogue and whatnot. But yeah, so the dialogue is pretty much finalized, more or less. It does still move around towards the end. It just gives us an extremely accurate picture of how much space we have. And then I basically thumbnail that. I put all sorts of notes that until this most recent round were just hand scrawled right onto the artwork, which does Jen no favors because they're very hard to read. So I started typing. There's an extra layer on my thumbnails that are just like notes you can turn on and off. If I have any specific notes for Jen, vis-a-vis facial expressions or body language or what have you, or just thoughts I was having and just saying like, I was thinking this or this, go nuts. She pencils it in two stages. She does reds, which are essentially more cleaned up thumbnails, but like not good enough that I would know how to ink from them. And then your more traditional blue pencils on top of that, which are the ones you are actually looking at underneath the inks right now. And then they get passed to me and then blown up to like the final page size, and then I ink it, and then I color it, and then it gets thrown into the void to wait to be put on the site. And that is our typical workflow. And then I just write whenever I can. My scripts do not work like regular comic scripts. Like, I do not put like panel 1 the character does this and panel 2, because that's weird. I don't understand how anybody could work that way, and B, luckily because I am also an illustrator, I don't need to do that because I'm just doing the layouts anyways. So it gives me more room to look at what I've written and kind of decide the pacing on the fly. Sometimes it works and sometimes there's not. There's a few pages that don't have the pacing I would have liked in hindsight, but bleh. Experience is the greatest teacher. Oh, Jesus Christ, it's 10 after 5. I should actually pack it in because we got a dinner. Neat. Yeah, I got actually more than I expected to get done. That's kind of cool. I should probably save this. But yeah, also getting back to 5, talking about Lackadaisy, she actually reads Rising Sun. And that blows my goddamn mind that there is webcomic royalty reading Rising Sand. And it's kind of cool that she is a fan of ours. Because I have to admit that that's probably one of the nicest looking webcomics of all time. But yeah, thanks for stopping in, everybody. I guess we'll do this again. Jen better take the next one. Jen, take the next one. We can draw Pokemon or whatever. Oh, we still need to like have an ongoing record of all the stream sketches, like in Discord or whatever. I swear we'll get the Discord up to code eventually. It feels weird because like now that I'm old and there are like, I mean, I get Discord. I use it all the time for like one-on-one chats, but like the whole the ecosystem of emotes and all those newfangled things that are kind of holdovers from Twitch chat, and it's just I'm old. I just want to draw comics. People with bots and Discord. Should I make a bot? I don't know how to make a bot. I'll figure out how to make a bot one of these days. But anyways, I'm gonna heck on off out of here now, and yeah, maybe I will hit you up vis-a-vis that. Now, I mean, there's also the thing that like Rising Sand takes an enormous amount of my time, so it's like it's not like I can devote all the time in the world to participating in Discord because I have to make the comic. But yeah, I wouldn't mind spiffing it up a little bit. But yeah, we'll touch base on that later. In the meantime, I'll just do everything by hand. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, everybody. I'm going to get the heck out now, and you guys can just get out of my face, and I'll see you on the internet. So everybody have a decent evening, or else. Okay, bye.